I'm very pleased to say now I'm joined by trainer Laurence Tuffin, who
assistant trainer, get it right.
Trainer now, correct? Trains with his brother. It's been downgraded. I thought it's Kennel Hand actually, Laurence.
Well, yeah, that's where you put me anyway.
You've got a couple of contenders for the Star Sports Derby. We'll come to those in just a minute because obviously you're now attached to Toaster. In fact, your kennels are based at Toaster, a track that Star Sports have been big supporters of. How's it all going there? I know times are slightly frustrating with only having one meeting, but I guess more importantly, and perhaps in the future with the Derby in mind, how's the track in your opinion?
Well, I do like the track. It's certainly better than it was, in my opinion, to what it was before. If you had a genuine wide runner, you know, nine out of 10 of them would disappear around the first two bends and give so much ground away. Some may say that it now bringing the wide runners in and they're cutting the bend and causing a little bit of trouble at the bends. But for me, it runs as good as any track. And looking at some of the trainers that have come to the track and trialled their dogs, they're very happy with it. So, no, I think it's fine. They've done a fantastic job.
You were obviously attached to Nottingham, and let's be fair to them, they really saved the day in terms of the Derby for a couple of years. Toaster, Kevin Boothby's made no secret that he wants the Derby. In your opinion, which is the better Derby track?
Oh, look, I think Nottingham have done an absolutely fantastic job. If the Derby was there next year, I certainly wouldn't be disappointed if it was there next year. You know, if Toaster get it, all well and good, and I'm sure they'll put on a good show. Look, I ran at Nottingham for 20 odd years. You know, the track was, as I say, it's pretty fair. It's a good test of a dog. Toaster's a good test of a dog. It's a stiff 500. There's no hiding places if you can't get home. And they're very similar as far as tracks are concerned. But obviously, I think the facility-wise at Toaster could possibly put on a far better show overall, which it proved in the 2 years that it did have the Derby. But I think Nottingham have done a great job to save it, else we wouldn't have had a Derby at all. So fair play to them.
Very diplomatic answer, well done. Right, let's talk about your Derby dogs now, and one that you and I have just been debating a bit about, actually, a dog that I really like, Deadly Expert, is in the betting with Star Sports at 150 to 1 and to place for the Derby. I was really taken with this dog, Laurence, when he ran in the semi-final of the Still City Cup and won, obviously making the final. He finished 4th there. He's just had the 9 races for you, so tell us a bit about him. First of all, how did he come to be in your kennel?
Well, we were looking for a dog, to be honest. You know, there was a few of us looking to buy a relatively decent dog. And he came up for sale on the internet, along with Deadly Blue, I think it was. I think that landed up down at down south. It ran at Sittingbourne. I think it ran pretty much near the track record down there, over 6 bends. But we bought him. Frank Jackman did the deal. We got him for 7,000, and 7 of us bought him between us. And we looked at his form. Obviously, he got that good run behind Magical Bale. He'd also run against 2 or 3 really good dogs in Ireland. And for the money, he looked a bargain. So we bought him.
And what have you made of him since he's come into your kennel?
Well, the first trial he had at Sheffield last November wasn't too bad. We were fairly happy with that being as his first trial. But his second trial, he went backwards. We found that he got an injury, which put him back until early part of this year. But when we started trialling him at Nottingham, he did some fantastic runs, especially his 1779 that he did round Nottingham, which was superb. We took him to Sheffield in a maiden, which he won by 9 3/4 lengths in 28.68. So we're obviously, we bought the dog. But then we did find that, like in I think the first round, he didn't lead, and it was a bit of a struggle to get to the winning line. But he reversed that in the semi-final, showed his true form. But then again, in the final, he didn't quite, he didn't come away, and you knew your fate by the time we got to the 3rd bend. So, obviously, we've had lockdown. And he's gone back to a little bit to the way he was running in Ireland. So we would like to see the trapping boots return, and that's obviously what we're working on.
And you've played around with him a bit, putting on weight, taking weight off to see what gets him to start, but also stay. That's what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't look particularly a strong dog when he came. I think he weighed around the 33 and a half kilo mark in Ireland, and he's quite a big dog, big frame dog. And so obviously we filled him out a little bit, and that I think obviously gave him the impetus to get out the boxes. So now we've dropped him back down a little bit, but he hasn't showed any of his trapping in 3 races up to date. So it's frustrating, but I mean, the back straight he showed at Nottingham on Monday after completely making a hash of the first 2 bends was, I was sort of taken aback. I wasn't there myself. I was sat in the chair. I thought, oh God, that's it. We're at the back. He's going to finish last and embarrass himself. But then he just took off down the back, which was, but he wouldn't be able to afford to do that against, the top class Derby dogs.
No, well, I actually napped him, as you know, on Monday night. That was his first race at Nottingham. Do you think it's a track that will suit him?
Well, going on Sheffield, I thought he'd like that sort of track. That's why we took him to Monmore, where they keep galloping flat out. I thought he'd cut the bends at Monmore like he did at Sheffield, but he didn't. He kept himself fairly wide, like he was feeling his way round there. And I think he was going to do the same at Nottingham. Normally, I would have expected him to get to that first bend and cut across. Because I wouldn't honestly say he's a genuine wide runner. If you look at him when he came up the home straight on Monday, I think once he'd settled himself down in the race and was coming home, he was coming straight down the middle. So, yeah. And he didn't have a wide seed on him in Ireland. He was more of a middle runner in Ireland. He ran out of 2, 3 and 4 mainly. So, But yeah, we're hopeful. But he has got to up his game over the next few weeks.
Fingers crossed he does, because I have been taken with some runs. And that back straight, as you said, at Nottingham on Monday was pretty, Chasey's got the raw pace there.
Yeah.
I like his attitude.
Yeah, at home he's a little bit nervous of strangers. With everybody else, he's absolutely fine. I've got a new lad that works for me at the moment. He's been with us a few weeks, and he can't get near him. He don't want to know him, but I said he'll come round to you, give him a few custard creams, and he'll be your best friend. But at the track, he's very laid back, brilliant traveller, and just hoping for a bit of luck with him, really.
You've got another entry as well, Silvis Blue Jay. Now, she's a bitch that, again, looks to have a lot of pace from the form that I've seen. Just coming back from season, isn't she? And she's, again, not had too many races for you.
No, I mean, she's a lovely bitch. Tony was training her at Henlow when he was on his own down at Henlow. She's a stunning-looking form bitch, really is. I know they've been talking with the owner that the Oaks will be her main target, all being well. But look, I mean, she had a first trial on Thursday over the 500 at Toaster, did 30.09, 4:39 split, which isn't bad for her first 4 bends. She's only had 1 sprint prior to that. She was on lockdown, then came in season straight away. She's had a full seasonal break. She can only improve over the next few weeks. And I think if she doesn't, come on as we expect her to, there's no reason why she shouldn't be in it.
Yeah, and as you say, she turned 2 during lockdown, so she really should be improving. What about you and the Derby? I'm guessing you and your brother, especially now you've up, it'd be something that you'd dearly love to go deep into. Yeah,
I mean, neither of us have had any real luck, I suppose. Sorry to bring him up, but Tim Baz was probably the best, the only dog. Because I think competition dogs are not your run-of-the-mill dogs. He wasn't the fastest, but he could keep getting to finals. And there's a lot of dogs like that I class as true competition dogs. I think Ted was saying on one you did with him that it wasn't always his fastest dogs would get there. It is a real difficult one to, the best dogs don't always get there. If you're a competition dog, then. But we've had a few bits and pieces. We've got through a couple of rounds. I remember A Million Maid got through 2 rounds at Wimbledon. truth matters, got to the second round, but we've not really gone very deep into the Derby. But we used to go, I mean, me and some friends, we started off in 1970 something going to the Derby, and you know, we followed it for years and years, like, you know. So I suppose the nearest I've ever got to winning the Derby is living about 200 yards from Charlie. So as far as I'm concerned, I've won it 6 times, is it? I ain't got an OBE, because that's the nearest I get to an OBE.
Well, listen, I think Deadly Expert could go a long way, and at 150 to 1, I think that the people watching this should definitely keep an eye on what he does over the coming weeks, and I'll be hoping that you manage to find his trapping boots anyway, and that he's
well, so are the other owners.
Yeah, no pressure.
No,
thanks for talking to us, and we'll look forward to seeing you at Nottingham.
Lovely. Thanks, Julie.